I love it when people are on time and I don't have to just sit staring at the light.
I just messaged you like, are you ready?
I was just trying to put something warmer on because in my room it's cold. And outside,
I'm outside. I was just about to say as well, I am outside, so if you do hear any mooing or just any countryside noises, don't be alarmed. It's just...
Do you remember the first time I came to your house and I was literally like, there's a tractor. There's a tractor right there.
In your garden. I was like, oh God.
Just, you know,
almost as bad as the time we went on a weekend away and you got excited about seeing a cow.
Listen, it wasn't one cow. All of the cows were staring at me.
That is funny.
That's one of my favourite photos.
Yeah, no, that's good times. Very good times. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
God, my eyes are really watering. Sorry.
Hay fever.
I have been getting a bit of hay fever. I said to Liam, like, I bet if I sit outside, I'll start getting streamy eyes. But never mind.
How are you finding working out outside? Because you're also training outside, as am I. And I haven't. Only like when the weather is nice like this, I'm like motivated to train. But when it's a little bit colder or grey, I'm like...
I always say this to my friend who trains Ollie as well. Like, I'm lucky to have my equipment and obviously be outside and stuff. But when it's not, like when the weather's not on my side, it's really annoying.
Yeah.
But it's not a big issue. I think training, like, because I'm so busy at work at the moment, training isn't like my main priority at the moment. So I just have to learn to enjoy the sessions I do get and make the most out of them. So I try not to let it affect me too much. Been doing quite a few WODs and stuff, you know, getting into all that
functional business.
Cardio. Yeah. No, it's good.
I've just agreed to do a live HIIT session on Monday morning at 9 a.m.
Oh God. Right.
Kerry Sexton.
Okay, yeah.
I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
She's like, you'll be fine, babe. And I'm like, no, do you know me? my cardio is walking.
Yeah. We don't.
So yeah, this might be the last time you ever talk to me, you know.
I'm sure not. You might end up loving it. Like, literally, I've ended up really enjoying them. I do them with like my 3 friends, and we get on like video call and we just do it together.
Yeah,
it's really fun. It's actually been like one of my highlights of lockdown, because without that, I don't think we're all like motivating each other and, you know, helping each other just stay active, I guess. Important.
Well, I suppose for you, like the lockdown now, you're not doing like classic bodybuilding style training. It's a lot easier to get your training in, isn't it, with minimal equipment?
Yeah, I don't. Obviously, I'm lucky to have the barbell and stuff. But I mean, I do still do. You could say I do still do some bodybuilding-esque moves. I mean, I'm not doing 50 cable kickbacks today, no. But I am doing split squats, lots of, you know, like lots of accessory work that I probably would have had programmed back then. But yeah, I'm focusing on. I really want to get my front squat up during lockdown.
Do you know what? That's what I've been working on.
Oh really? That's cool.
Yeah, it just suits my physiology. I would think it suits yours too. Long femurs.
Yeah, quite long.
Yeah.
I'd like to think so, but I am fairly weak in front squat. Back squat.
Also, because if I back squat, I have to low bar, and I fucking hate holding the low bar.
Yeah.
Like,
are you not into that powerlifting life yet?
Do you know what? Someone commented on my overhead press yesterday. I was only doing 30 kilos. To me, that's not very heavy. But he literally messaged me like, "That's so strong," you know. Like, and I was like, "No, not compared to the people I surround myself with."
It's relative, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like 30.
And I'm skinny, right? So I think they probably expect me to be quite weak. But I do really like to cross-functional. I love to lift heavy, but I do have to lift higher rep because I'm trying to grow. But I like to do a little bit of everything. Hey?
You've got quite a setup now. Didn't I see you bought yourself like a bloody leg extension or something?
Yeah, I've got a leg extension and a hamstring curl. I've got 170 kilos to play with. Weight. I've got a squat rack. I've got hyper extension.
Yeah, you won't need to go back to like Muscle Works, wherever you're going.
You know, I actually probably won't take a gym membership until the winter, to be honest, and maybe just do some day passes. But I really enjoy doing a little bit of different training. You know, do you remember I did the Ollie lifting course as well at the Vauxhall Olympic Lifting Academy, and I loved it.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah. But I really found that doing those movements, the Ollie lifting movements, especially the snatch, was so stressful on my CNS that as soon as I started prep again, I had to drop it out.
Yeah. It's not simple movement anyway. Like, I mean, it's not, is it? But it's good that you tried it. I mean,
I loved it.
You hadn't done anything like that before, had you?
No, I just don't really have the mobility for it either, to be honest. But
yeah, but you know, anyone can say that. But if you just work hard at your mobility, you can get there. Like I'm pretty sure you've got a good overhead squat if you put your mind to it.
So I had a lot of people actually message me. They were really interested to hear about you moving from competing in the way you look to competing for performance and how you feel.
I had a couple of questions as well, actually. I was surprised. I was like, I didn't think anyone would ask me anything. But yeah.
So do you just want to like explain your journey really, and like what motivated you to move away from competing for the way solely how you look and training that way to how you are training now?
Yeah, okay. So I was competing 2015, 16, and then I started prepping again in 2017 with the mind of I'm going to carry this on. I really enjoy this, you know. But I think for me, to begin with, just to be completely honest, I think competing for me served the purpose at that time in my life when I was going through a really bad breakup and I had like no focuses. I felt quite lonely, and I totally consumed myself in prep. And I'm not saying you can't prep healthily. Like, you're a perfect example of someone that can, but I think it very much depends on your mindset. And
I mean, I wouldn't say it's healthy for anyone. I just have a better balance in the off season.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, you can prep clever, you know.
Yeah.
And I think at the time, perhaps for me, it became more of a unhealthy obsession than something that was serving me any purpose. And I think towards the end, I ended up just carrying on because all of like my friends were in the bodybuilding community. I felt very sucked into that bubble.
Yeah.
Like Insta was a huge influence. Like my feed was just full of like ripped and muscly women, and at the time that was all I knew. So therefore that was all I wanted.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I actually, like, my partner at the time, we broke up, and I went to the gym, and a new coach was joining, and he was like doing Ollie lifting and that sort of stuff, and I thought, I'll give it a stab, why not, you know, give it a go. And it all sort of just happened from there really. But the main reason for stopping prep was because I was developing a very unhealthy relationship with myself, I guess.
Your body image.
Yeah, and even though I was very lean, and I do sometimes look back at that body and think, God, I'd love to see those abs again. But for me, it's not like I don't want it enough. And I think I know that I'm totally at peace now with myself and my body, because I don't look at anyone else and think, oh, I want to look like that. Like, I want to look like me. And that's like, and it has taken a long time to like get to that point. But I think it's just being in control and aware and striking the balance. Like you said, you live a lot more balanced, like prep and what have you. I was real like bro diet, you know, like chicken and.
But I mean, I was back then as well, right? We didn't know any better, and I think your point about kind of escaping into prep and competing, I think it would be safe to say that at least half of competitors are doing just that.
Yeah.
You know, whatever it is that they are escaping from, or, you know, trying to throw themselves into this prep, we all came at it from that kind of place, really. Sorry, my cat has to be in every single live.
Love cat.
And now he'll just lay here off now. If I don't, he'll just start wailing. I try to escape from my cats in prep, and that's why I prep. Just stay in that gym as long as possible.
Do you ever feel like, because one of the questions I had was, I feel very stuck in the bodybuilding world and I don't know what to do. I'm so used to physique-based stuff. Like, do you ever, I mean, I find it a bit hard to answer that question because I'm not stuck in that world anymore, but literally all I did to break out of that norm was to I unfollowed all of like, well, any bikini competitors and people that I didn't class as friends. Like I eliminated anyone that gave me like any bad body like image or feels. And I started something new, which was ollie lifting at the time, not knowing it would become like, you know, a really enjoyable sport for me. But I don't know, you've been on the bodybuilding like scene for a lot longer than I ever was. Like, do you ever feel like you're stuck and you want to escape, but you don't know what you do if you weren't bodybuilding?
It kind of defines you, right? Especially if you do quite well. I think that it becomes like, so once I won finals, I'm 38 and I'm thinking, I don't have that much left in me, to be honest, over the next couple of years. I was intending this year to be my last year. I was going to do worlds. I was hopefully going to win worlds, go out as world champion, and then concentrate on my personal life. And perhaps have a family or, you know, settle down with somebody. And then there's always the potential to compete again in my 40s. But I was thinking, like, this is quite a critical time of my life now if I want to settle down. But you're right, you're sucked into the community, like, and I've got like loads of friends that, you know, they're not thinking about leaving. They're competing year after year after year, and I love it as well, but it's just because of my age and where I'm at in my own life. I'm thinking I need to take a break. But yeah, I actually don't know how I would. So now obviously all of this has happened and they probably won't have worlds this year, I expect. It'll probably be next year. So now I've got to decide, am I going to compete next year? Because I wasn't intending to. And I just can't make the decision now. And then one of my best friends, so Karina, is one of the best bikini competitors in the world. You know, she went to Olympia
the other day. That was an amazing
so she's transitioning out of competing and bodybuilding and into more holistic, like health-based mindfulness, how she feels, not how she looks. And even though she's well on top of that, I can see like how difficult it is to do that mentally as well as physically. You know, your body's been training that way for years, but she didn't like the way she looked. She trained for competition. She doesn't like having a muscly upper body, whereas I love it. So I think I would still continue to train this way, but I would be able to mix up my training more enjoyably, add a bit more ollie in, a bit of CrossFit, you know, a bit of whatever takes my fancy, rather than I just train for stage at the moment. So like I don't train my back because it's outgrown the rest of my body, but I love training my back. So being able to go back to just training for fun would be fantastic. But yeah, I do wonder how I am going to transition out of it. But I think that the thing for me is I started a lot later. So I only started lifting in my 31, 32. And I think that my self-esteem and my body image is a lot more ingrained from not anything to do with competing. Like, you know, I think that that's the helpful thing for me. I do worry for the girls that are in their mid-20s, early 20s.
I worry for people that, like, I would get messages saying, like, oh, you competed, like, what's it like? Or what do I need to do? Like, people that just think that, like, they can just compete. Like,
it looks glamorous, right?
It's not just standing on a stage in a bikini looking nice. Like, you have to, A, chuck thousands of pounds at it, B, you know, pretty much have no life for God knows how many weeks. And that is... If there's one thing I take away from competing, what it taught me was discipline. Like I was very proud of how disciplined I was for that many months, and I was very proud of the body that I achieved. But would I want to put myself through what I went through to achieve that body twice the times that I did it? Like no, like it doesn't appeal to me anymore. But I am so in awe of the people that do it because I know what it takes like to get there. And I think that's the thing, like why I still love, you know, like following your journey and things. But I also know that I know how you prep, and I know you're in it for the right like reasons. Do you know what I mean?
I think that we probably wouldn't be able to maintain our friendship if I was coming at it from that other place, you know. I think that the reason that my friends that don't compete anymore or don't at all can accept it is that I'm not crazy when it comes. I mean, when it's prep, but like batten down the hatches and I'll go balls to the wall. But the rest of the time, you know, I can come out for a drink and I do eat whatever I want, and I am flexible, and there's not many, is there, like that?
I know what you mean.
That is an age thing.
There was something I was thinking the other day, or like something Liam said to me. passing comment was like, oh, the bodybuilding scene is so dead now. What do you think about that? Like, I do feel like it's not as big as it like it used to be. I think like so many people jump on that hype, like, oh yeah, like it's an amazing thing to do, like, and it is, don't get me wrong, but I do feel like it's sort of not whistling out, but I do feel like,
well, you look at body power, right? It's declining every year.
Well, for sure, yeah.
I think it's definitely changed shape. I mean, I'm going to be honest, I only follow my friends that compete. I'm not into the whole scene, you know, like I don't watch the Olympia. I don't care. I watched it because Karina was there, you know. I've never watched it before. I don't watch the Arnolds. I don't live stream anything. I love my competing journey.
So I got to say hey to Katie. Hey.
And yeah, but I'm not obsessive in it. And so like a lot of people will be like, oh, you know so and so, and I'll be like, no. Yeah. Especially if it's a guy, I don't follow them unless I know them. So but I do see that it has changed, you know, and there's a lot more corners cut probably, and it's not what it classically was before. I think the look has changed.
It became more of like a fashionable thing to do. People didn't quite realise what was entailed until they started, you know, getting into it, and people want to.
And there's more and more federations as well, and all the federations have a different desired look and different criteria. So I think it's just become a lot more accessible for people that perhaps don't have enough muscle, or they don't want to be bodybuilding. They want to do more of the fitness model type stuff. So I mean, I think it's definitely changed, but I wouldn't say it was dead. But again, as you said before, it just depends on what you're consuming on a daily basis. So if you are following all the bodybuilders, that's going to be your norm, you know.
That is true. And I suppose, but I think it was just a vibe that I've got generally. Now I'm working in the fitness industry as well, like I know, like I sort of see like where things are headed and stuff, and it's interesting. But
I do think that there's not a lot of respect given to competitors that compete for aesthetics. So I have been dating a powerlifter, and he actually did say to me, "You're not an athlete," and I was like, "Excuse me."
Look at that fuck off trophy. He hated the whole competing thing.
Ben said the same thing when I was with him, and then when he actually saw what it entails to get on stage in that condition, he changed his mind, and he did say to me, do you know what, hats off to you, you are an athlete. But because it's not performance based, but I don't think people realize that how good you look on stage depends how well you trained in your off season and how committed you were.
And I think I'm not sure I totally agree with that statement, just because you can train, like I could train the way I train now and prep and still look good on stage. Like I could still maintain the training I'm doing now. I'd have to, like, you know, concentrate, perhaps isolate my
tweak it a bit. But
I could still train the way I am now and compete. I mean, I've got
friends that do CrossFit and they compete, so they just have to do delts and glutes a bit more, but everything else.
Many, like ex-bikini competitors that have gone to CrossFit, and they've got the most banging bodies, like literally.
I just love when people stop worrying about what they look like. Generally, they look better. It's so strange, because you just start to love your training, and you're eating enough so you're fully fueled, so you're sleeping well, you know, and you're just healthier. You're going to look better, full stop, aren't you?
And it just out of you, doesn't it? Yeah, like I do feel like a completely different person for ditching that life. Like, I think training for strength and competing against me only is something that it's an art as well to do that. I think, like, when you are up on stage, I know obviously you prep to be the best that you can be, but when you're up on stage, people say they're not worried about anyone else stood up there, but of course you are. You're competing against them. You do care if she's got bigger glutes than you, because you want to beat her. Like, and I don't correct me if I'm wrong, but like, you are competing against other people. It is you, like, you want to improve your body from where you were before, but you
still got to fit the criteria more than anyone else on the stage.
And so you are. I think that was one thing that I disliked about myself with competing. It made me very, like, not bitter, but in all honesty, it made me feel like I just didn't want to be me. Like, I wanted to always be looking different, or I want to have bigger this or smaller that, or and I like
never content.
No, and like it put me in a really negative mind. Whereas now, like with bodylifting, like I am like literally just on my own journey. Like, I don't, unless I'm competing, like, and I make, you know, although there's not many girls in my weight category when I compete, but it's still nice to like have a bit of competition, but you are literally just trying to improve your total, like on the you competed. So yeah, for me it's a lot more healthy, and I'm a lot happier. A lot happier.
Talk about your body image, please, because you did touch on it earlier, because obviously I mean, I was so ashamed of myself yesterday. I had the archive of, you know, your memories from last year, and it was my off-season body. I looked absolutely fine, not that far off what I look like now. I've got a bit more denser muscle now, but I in it said current look likes pizza, and then it was like look like a bowl of porridge. I mean, for God's sake,
I hate looking back at my
it's
old
so
posts,
ridiculous how I looked at
myself
back then. I looked great. I was obviously very unhappy with how I looked at the time, because just a few months before I'd been stage lean. Now I actually don't like what I look like stage lean. I hate what it does to my face. Like, please come back.
Really, like, I didn't like dislike. I do look back at my body now and think, Christ. And I know Liam thinks the same. Like, I looked ill. Like, I don't think I looked like a very shapely bikini competitor. Yeah, I was very lean. I did have like a 6 or 8 pack at the time. Like, I felt like it was nice, and like, oh, I've got a 6 pack, but I literally just did not give me anything else. Like,
and where you have to go physically and mentally to get that 6 pack, not usually worth it, right?
No, I think it's true. But I mean, I did have the question: how did you become okay with not being so lean? I don't.
And how long did it take?
Because I don't really ever remember there being any like pinnacle moment where I was like, okay, now I'm happy with where I am. I think because I didn't rebound or like sit around sort of like moping. I jumped straight into trying something new, and I knew that for ollie lifting, because obviously it's full body movements, it's you know, it's tough stuff. I knew I had to fuel my body, so like I didn't deprive my body of food. But when I was coming out of being super lean and eating like up to my calories and stuff, I didn't have a coach or anything at that time, so I was literally just like winging it with the help of like Liam. And I did struggle, but I know I struggled because I was taking a lot of pictures of myself and comparing them. So like every week I would like perhaps look back at the photos I was taken last week and see that I would put on a bit more money, or I was looking a bit more soft, as people say. But there was never a moment where I was like, oh, I think I'm getting fat. And I think that was the moment where I knew that I was out of that like bubble, like, because I was fine. Like I had just trained my body and mind into not evolving my life around being lean. Like, and that's why I find it hard to answer this question, because I don't know how long it took or anything like that. I just know that when I changed my outlook and I eliminated those triggers from my life, I naturally started to feel better.
I actually must admit, and I hope I don't offend you, but even the way you used your social media changed, and I could see the change in you and how you interacted with Instagram and how it became not a big deal anymore. Whereas before, when you were competing, so true, Instagram was your life.
I was all about a selfie and like,
oh God. But you know, I really did notice that change in
like,
you.
Grunting in the bottom of a snatch, like.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like now, it's like they're badass lifting faces, and I'm doing that face looks like I'm doing a poo because it's damn heavy.
I always say that to my friend. I'm like, why don't you pull those faces? Why do I look like a freaking constipated frog? But hey, that's fine. But no, and I totally I agree with you there. And I like the fact you pointed that out, because my Instagram was very like it was very just,
you were very,
there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong, like, you know, loving your body and celebrating your body. I'm down for that, but it definitely did change the way I felt.
I think it's an age thing as well, like a maturity thing. As you grow up older, you start to not give a fuck, right?
I also think that might have something to do with it. Like, you know, I do want to have a family. I do want to be strong and fit and healthy. And I suppose there was a moment in my life where I was like, actually, I can't keep up doing this. Like, I am in effect damaging my body. Like, how will that affect me in years to come? I need to give myself if X, Y, and Z happened or couldn't happen. And I think, and I was very lean. Like, I lost my period. I didn't have, like, you know, I had the full shebang. Like, it wasn't very healthy at all. So I think that was definitely a moment of truth as well. Like, actually, what are you doing? Like, for what? And I knew at the time it wasn't really for anything other than, I don't know, people thinking, oh, she looks lean, and like, she obviously works hard in the gym, and that's not enough. Like, it's
kind of like just validation from others, isn't it? That means nothing.
Yeah, and that is me being completely honest, and that is where like my mindset shifted. I honestly do not care what anyone possibly thinks of me now, or my body. Like, I love my body now more than I ever have, and mainly for what it's capable of. Like, I would no way be able to chuck. I couldn't even like deadlift the weight that I snatch now, like back when I was in bikini prep. And like, now I'm chucking it above my head. So for me, that feels a lot more like empowering than any, you know, than having a lean physique. So
I always find that, like, I lift a lot heavier and I'm more proud of my strength than anything, because people just think, I don't know, you're a narcissist, you just do it for the way you look, you don't even really train, like, you do 500 kickbacks. I've never done kickback in my life.
No, and I don't want it to come across like that. If there's any bikini,
no, but that
I'm
is
not
what
I'm not saying,
cliche, isn't it? And that's what people expect. So when I did start seeing Mike, and he's a powerlifter and he's bloody strong, I can remember we went to this gym and it had Viking press, and I'd never seen it before, and someone had left their plates on it. And I was like, oh my God, is this a Viking press? And he said, yeah, do you want to try it? And I went to grab it, and he went, do you want me to take the plates off? And I just looked at him like incensed and just pushed it straight up, like, how dare you? And I think even he said, you're not like any bikini girl I've ever met. I mean, he hasn't met that many, don't get me wrong, he's not in the industry.
That's what I was trying to say though a minute ago, like, I'm not comparing them all with the same brush, because like I just said, I could easily like stay train the way I am, be strong, happy, healthy, and then like prep and
diet down.
Like, but, you know what I mean? Like, I get, like, you know, it's different. You know, everyone's got their own thing, haven't they? And it's just not my thing anymore for those reasons.
Do you ever remember being really unhappy with the way you looked after you stopped competing?
Do you know what? At the time, I was very, very warped. Like, I thought I looked great. I thought I was really muscly. I thought I looked like a really good bikini competitor. But now I look like I look back and I think I look like a dying cat or something. I looked really like stringy and just skinny, and like, no, I wasn't loving it at all.
Well, just think, right? So I've seen you compete in a strongman competition. Imagine you trying to do that, pulling that truck, and
that
the
was so funny. Yeah.
If you were still in bikini,
imagine me trying to do that in a bikini, but I've been crushed.
But you pulled that truck, mate. I mean, it's a lorry. Like,
yeah, no. I know, and I'm not bashing my body back then. I was proud of the fact that I achieved that body, but I don't look back at it. Like, at the time, I didn't see, but in hindsight, I look back now and I was like, oh God, I was very small and I wasn't healthy.
Do you find that you surround yourself with different type of people now?
Oh, so much so, yeah. I think like some of my closest friends now in my life I've met through doing ollie lifting, and I've only been doing it for like a year and like almost 2 years. Yeah, definitely. Majority of the people that do it in my gym are male. My best friend Kate does it, and so she's the only other like girl in our club. Oh, and Kelly as well, actually. Sorry, Kelly, if you're watching.
Yeah, I know. Kelly's going to literally spitting at you.
Kelly's going to go crazy now. So yeah, I do. They're all super strong women with their own incredible like stories and of strength in different ways. And yeah, I think, I don't know if this is just the way it's happened, but I'm just associated.
Commented.
Oh,
she's a good enough friend to watch this live, but you're not a good enough friend to mention.
This shit's nerve-wracking, all right? Let a girl off. Christ. No, I'm sorry. I just got caught on the spot. I shouldn't have named any names. It's
always the worst because you're always going to forget someone.
I definitely do surround myself with the people that I want to surround myself with now. Like I only want to be around like people that have the same sort of like vision and like goal and get up and go as me. I think before I don't even know if I had, like, apart from you, I don't really keep in touch with any of my other like bikini friends. I don't know why that is, but yeah, I feel like now like my circle is just a lot better, but also we all do and love the same thing, so it's a bit similar for you. Like, you've got loads of bikini friends because you've all got things in common. So yeah,
but it's funny because people expect me to just be friends with bikini competitors because they're bikini competitors, and I went out for dinner with like 4 of us, and someone commented saying, oh, I should have come, and I just thought, why would you come out with me and my friends? And then I realized it was because we all compete. But I'm drawn to a very specific type of character and a very specific personality, and the people that I socialize with within the bikini circles all have the same sense of humor as me. You know, we're just my kind of people, and that's not everyone, you know. So I think that people really do just tie you all with the same brush, and there's like, oh yeah, you girls. But saying that, I mean, I've made lots of friendly acquaintances, you know, that I'm probably not going to phone them if I'm going to cry because I split up with my boyfriend. But I'd certainly, like, if I saw them at a show, like, chat to them and everything, because it is a really friendly industry.
Make a lot of friends as well and connections on Instagram. Like, I think people bash Instagram, but it's only if you're using it for the wrong purposes. Like I said earlier, when I was using it to compare and look at everyone's lives and all that, you know, and just want to be looking like, you know, so and so and so and so. I think it's very different. Like, whereas now, for me, I literally use my Instagram as a training log. Like, I post my lifts, I post my training, like whatever, and my life and like bits of my life here and there. And I don't really care if people like it or not. If they don't, they'll unfollow me. But I have, since have changed the way I post, like you said, I have lost like so many followers, and it's just like, well, if you were just following me for, you know, cheeky arse shot, then it's not going to be here any longer, I'm afraid. Go to Martina's, okay?
I don't even have that because of my actual job, so go to Jodie Delan's.
So someone else
kill me now.
No. But
I definitely think that the content that you post obviously does attract a certain following. And when that changes,
I've made like new friends in the weightlifting community through Instagram. That's what I was going on to say. Like, and I think that's one of the things I really like, is because it's so nice to meet other women that are on the same like journey. As you. So I found Instagram to be an amazing community. Like, I've met some of my actual friends on Instagram. Jodie's a good example, actually. I speak to her every single day now, you know, like you're lucky. She's going to put her athlete sponsor code for Complete Strength in a minute. But that's the thing, like, we've got the same sense of humor. We tease each other mercilessly, but we're there for each other 24/7. But I don't get sucked into comparing myself to anybody, but that is my age as well, you know, like it's just not a thing for me. But I do see my younger friends just in this warp of like, even just before a show, like really looking at the competitors that they're going to be up against. And I don't do that. Like, I haven't got enough time. I'm still doing all the bloody cardio in the world because I walk instead of doing anything more efficient. But I definitely think as your content changes, your engagement and the following does, because even from prep to off season, you know, I've 2 extremely different looks, 2 different lifestyles. Especially for me, I've got quite a busy social life in the off season, and a lot of people don't want to see that, so I will lose a lot of followers then. But at the end of the day, as you said, if they don't like it, they just won't follow, and the people that gravitate to you are your people. I love just following like lifters now. Like, I just love seeing other people lift, and
it's inspiring, isn't it?
I like trying to find other, like my friend showed me one the other day, I like to try and find other tall Ollie lifters, because they're not, you don't see many tall female like Ollie lifters. There's that like, all Ollie lifters are like small and whatever. But obviously I'm not, because I'm tall. But so I like trying to find different people.
I follow every single redhead competitor that exists. It's like a gang. We're just a ginger gang.
That's good. I think that's what I mean. Like, I use it for different, like, I use it for completely different reasons now. And like I said, it's connected me with a lot of cool people in weightlifting, and it's also been really good recently for my job as well.
Yeah,
I've got so many sales through Insta of like people really wanting to to buy equipment and stuff. So yeah, it's been really good actually recently. Yeah.
How do you feel were you with Liam when you were competing?
So the last we met in 2015. Yeah, we were, and then I was just finishing like my second, I think I just competed like my second time. I don't think he was a huge lover of that.
No.
The prep poly.
No, I can't imagine so. But he's stuck in there.
Yeah. No, and he wouldn't, like, if I wanted to do it again now, he would stand by me. Like, he would never tell me how to look or anything, but I don't think it was the most enjoyable experience for him.
Do you think that he was a big influence in your journey into performance-based things? Because he's such a performance-based athlete.
I think at the time it was him that said, like Dom's, which is my old coach, is coming to the gym. And he specialised in ollie lifting. He's doing like a ollie lifting club. And then I started going to that. So yeah, I think he was a big influence in changing my direction. And I was lucky to have him at the time, because obviously he's very knowledgeable, and I had that source there, and I think I used it, and he did help me find other other things to do, and then I just tried ollie lifting. Wasn't even sure if I was going to enjoy it or want to pursue it, and then ended up being really like in love with it.
Do you feel like you're less neurotic now? Like bikini competing's so about the numbers, like the food, and do you know what I mean? Like so much control over every little thing.
I mean, do you mean am I still a control freak?
Well,
I don't know. I don't really get hung up on.
You feel way more chilled out to me, but I don't know if it's just because we're growing up and we're getting older.
I think you do get a little bit more, like when you're prepping for a comp, you obviously are becoming more aware of, like, you have in your head like what numbers you want to hit.
Yeah.
And, I would say the only time I ever get up about what numbers I'm hitting is if I am either trying to like PB or I'm competing, because like my working weights at the moment are all like 60-70%. They're not like, and that's because we train at those percentages in order to like refine technique so we can get better and like carry over to the to heavier lifts and stuff. Like there's method behind the magic. You don't just go in and start like
smashing it around.
Yeah, like it's not that type of training. So like, bar training, I don't think you can get hung up on numbers, because it's not really a numbers, or to me it's not really a numbers game in training. It's more about getting better, and you wouldn't be able to get better if you were like throwing your like 90, like 100%, 90-100% around.
See, whereas for the powerlifting, I've got to work at 95% for my working. I can't do that.
Really? I don't know if I could lift any of my 95%, if any of my lifts are in my garden right now.
I'm literally like, I work at about 90. And he's like, yeah, we work at about 95. And I was like, oh, okay.
Bloody hell.
That's gonna hurt, isn't it? It's one way to get stronger.
I don't think I get hung up on it, and I don't really like my food. Like I don't even I don't prep my food or anything anymore. Now I'm working from home. Now I'm in lockdown. I've got a lot more control over what I can cook and put in my mouth and stuff. But I don't do any tracking or anything like that anymore.
Do you know how much you weigh if you're not weighing in for a comp?
I do know how much I weigh actually, and that's only because before lockdown I did weigh myself at the gym, and I have actually lost 2.8 kilos in lockdown. Don't ask me why. Liam says it's because I'm not being a little piglet anymore and going to Asda on lunch breaks and stuff.
Yeah, and not socialising as much, right? So we're not drinking as much alcohol.
But I have lost a bit of weight, and I feel like quite just quite good about myself at the moment. So not very. I did compete once in the 87 category, and I've competed in the 81s. I don't think I could make it down to 76. I think I'd become a bit of a beanpole perhaps again. I'm not sure. I'm comfortable competing like under 81 because I'm 79 point something at the moment, and and I was...
For everybody that doesn't know how tall you are, I think it's quite worth
Oh
saying.
yeah, I'm 5'11".
Yeah.
I'm not like going to stand up and completely morph the camera.
Yeah, because you still have, I think that's why we're both actually, we have very good body composition even when we're not dieting.
Yeah.
So I think perhaps we engage with our body image a little bit more differently than some people who might be naturally like higher body fat percentage.
I think another thing it did teach me as well, which is useful for now, is like I feel like I can plan my food and eat food knowing, like I understand a lot more about what I'm putting in my mouth. Like I don't need to track to know if I hit protein. Like I sort of know, I know what I'm doing now. I don't necessarily need to be tracking everything to know how much, like obviously approximately talking here, but I don't need to track to know if I've had enough protein. Like I just make sure to eat protein in every meal. Like it's I think it's taught me how to fuel my body properly. I just needed to be eating like 10 times as much as I was in prep.
How different does it feel going to like a weightlifting competition compared to a bodybuilding competition?
It's obviously completely different like setup because you're on stage on your own. You don't lift next to anybody else. And similar to bikini, there's all different categories, but it's all done on weight. I would say some elements of the weightlifting comp structure I find a little bit more nerve-wracking, like being on the stage and they do like beeps when like you've got a minute to go, then beep when you need to lift, and then beep when you need to put the bar down. It is a bit like nerve-wracking when you're up there on your own, and I get quite stressed. But when you're just lifting, you just seem to forget about everyone, and you don't see anyone in the audience or hear them like shouting your cue. Just like so I think I don't know if I liked being on stage with the other girls because you had that like
fun,
a bit of like it's fun. You'd always drink as well, like it was sassy, like it was just I did enjoy that bit of it. But I think weightlifting's a little bit more, I don't know, sometimes it feels a bit more formal, maybe.
Serious.
Yeah, a bit more serious, but you just have, for anyone that doesn't know, you have 2 lifts, so snatch and clean and jerk, and you get 3 attempts at each lift, and if you don't make the lift, then obviously you can lift again. But if you have to make one lift to stay in the entire competition. If not, then you don't stay in the competition. But you lift on your own and you get 3 attempts at each lift.
And you've done CrossFit competition, or you have?
I think you did, didn't you? Yeah, I did one, but with a friend. So we did it there. That was, oh my god, honestly, I didn't know what I was letting myself in for. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done.
I had a friend that did turf games, which is quite similar, and he was the same. He was like, I just didn't know what I let myself in for.
But it was fun. Like I enjoyed the experience, but I don't think I'll be rushing back to do one of those anytime soon.
But then I suppose if you hadn't been eating and training for strength and sleeping and having like a healthier lifestyle, you wouldn't have even been able to bloody finish it, would you?
We weren't dreadful, because obviously like there's quite a bit of crossover like with Ollie and CrossFit. Obviously in Ollie you're focusing more predominantly on the on your technique and what have you, but it was fun from that element. Like I could use bits of my Ollie experience. And one of the last questions I had actually links into that quite nicely. Could you do Ollie lifting without a coach? My honest opinion, if you wanted to pursue Ollie lifting, would be I would invest in a coach. It's not easy. It's not easy. Like anything, it's not easy, but it has helped having direction and someone to look up to and call on, and someone just even for support. So I definitely would say get a good coach.
I think you just don't want to end up injured, right? And then you're out of anything, let alone, I think it's so technique based. Even taking a deadlift session off of a power lifter, I became so much more efficient in my lift, so I can lift more.
I think that's the thing as well. Like it's probably saying powerlifting. It's not just picking the bar up off the floor. Same as it's not just chucking a barbell over your head. Like you said, there's serious like you to be safe, but also you need to learn how to execute the lift properly before even attempting it. Or even like work up to barbell. Like you might even just be starting with dumbbells, you know, like it's not, it is tricky. But yeah, no, I definitely say invest in a coach. I just have an online coach.
Yeah. But would you say that when you very first start out, it's more beneficial to have in person?
Yeah, well, the way it worked out for us at our gym is that we had a coach who was a PT at the gym, like, you know, the setup at Progress. But then he left about, I don't even know, like a year in or something. I don't know. A couple of summers ago anyway, or last summer. And obviously that helped build the foundations, and to have someone in person to be like, oh, do this, don't do this, or, you know, sometimes to correct your form, like physically touch and put you into place and what have you. I feel like I am confident enough to not have that now. I've seen most of my progress in Ollie lifting since working with my current coach, but probably wouldn't be at this point if I didn't have the hands-on guidance in the beginning. So I would, but it's hard, like round here, like in Somerset where I live, I don't really know of any like one-on-one like Ollie lifting coaches, like specific that are offering PT or operating at the gym. I don't know of them, and if they're around, then great, but I'm quite happy with using my coach.
Well, you've got a great little group that all do it together now, don't you? Are you all coached by the same person?
No, we're not. A few of them are coached by a lad that is in the Ollie lifting group, and then I think a couple of them don't have coaches, and then I'm coached by Jessie, who used to work at Progress. So no, but it doesn't change anything. Like, we all still lift on Saturday morning, and I'm really missing it, actually. Like, I'm really missing not even just having the gym open, but just missing like our community of people. It's like, missing getting into club on a Saturday and like people just having the cheering for you and like egging you on. It's a test at the moment. You really do have to dig deep sometimes in these times, and put a rock up your own arse, which sometimes I think it's nice to have your friends there.
I just literally moped about for so long in the lockdown. You can have all the equipment in the world, but if you don't have the right mindset, you know, you and I had to pull my finger out, and thank God we can train outside with someone else now. So my gym is outside. So I just had one of my friends over, and we did a heavy squat session and some other stuff for legs. And honestly, it just like reignited my mindset and my passion again for training. And that was just on Saturday. So since then, you know, I've lifted the 3 days since. But just to get sick of your own shit, don't you? And think like, it's okay to not be okay. These are stressful times, but there's got to be a point where you say, okay, enough is enough. You've had your time to wallow. Now you've got to pick yourself up and get on with it. And
that is hard, because it's easy to, someone said to me the other day, oh, but you've got kit at home, like surely it's just easy, you just go outside and train. I think actually now, because I know I've got the kit here, I'm like, oh no, I'll train in a minute, or I'll train tomorrow, and because of work as well, like I am so busy, I'm not necessarily taking like set lunch breaks and things. Like I just am training, like I said, at the moment when I can get enough time to actually do a good session. So I'm not like, it's, I think actually sometimes it's not, you're right, you do need to be in the right frame of mind, but I don't think it's actually helped knowing that everything's out here, because I think sometimes I'm like, oh no, I'll do it tomorrow. And I said to my coach, like, oh, I've only managed to do like 4 out of 5 days this week on the program, which is fine, I'm just doing what I can do, but it's annoying. Like I need to get better at managing my time with work, but it's just something I've not quite grasped yet.
It's a new job, isn't it? I think that everybody has been struggling, right? We just have to be patient with ourselves, but also kind of just hold yourself to account and just be like, come on, mate, you're better than this.
That's what I said to my friends that I was like, motivate me to train, please. And then I got a pep talk, and then actually I had a really good session, and I was like, God, just get on with it, woman.
It just takes one good session, doesn't it, to get you back into the groove of it. I struggled when I didn't have the equipment, because I absolutely came off of a competition prep, so where I was going balls to
Yeah.
the wall for 8 weeks, and then all
That
of a
must
sudden
be-
it was like, here's a
Yeah.
couple of bands, go do your thing. And it was like, what?
Yeah.
At the
Yeah.
band, I got a TRX, I put it over my front door,
Oh, yeah.
I was using
Yeah.
it, I fell straight on my arse, it hit me in the face, and I was like, fuck this.
You film
Straight
it?
on the internet, bought myself all my kit. I was like, I can't do this anymore. And I just didn't know when the gym would open again.
I think so many people are obviously working for Alico and seeing that everyone buying kit and stuff, and every time there's an announcement we get like a spike of orders. I think people generally were like, actually no, this is only going to be a few weeks, I'll be okay. And now obviously I don't think we're going to see any gyms reopen until like August personally, or beyond that, but I might be wrong. So I think actually a lot of people saying, oh well, maybe you won't use the equipment that you've just bought. Well, I don't think it really like matters. I think if you do really want to train, it's a huge part of your life, and it was causing you upset, then why would you not, if you can afford to buy it, why don't you do that? Like, so many people aren't working and are actually just at home. They need to keep active, and
that's the thing. I mean, you end up just sitting at your desk all day. I mean, my desk is actually in my bedroom because I've got such a small flat, and then it's like I eat here, it's my restaurant as well, and then I work, I sleep, and it's like I just need a breather sometimes to just
to get away,
do a bit of something active.
And like the weightlifting and like training, and like, you know yourself, it is a huge part of people's lives, and that's why I'm annoyed that I'm not like prioritizing my time back, because I know that my exercise is super important to me. I just need to get back. I just need to take a break every day, but it's just hard. Yeah.
It's back to the 6 a.m. sessions, mate.
You know what? I have been doing a few. I had squats the other morning, and I was like, fucking hell. I was fasted light squats, which were fairly heavy for me. I was like, oh no. And it was really cold as well. I was like an icicle out here.
It's hard when it's cold. Full stop for me. But
once you get it done though in the morning, it is nice to just think, actually,
you feel amazing, right?
I can just get on with my work, and then later on I can chill and go for a walk or whatever. But yeah, it is certainly a strange time, but I'm very grateful that I'm still able to, like you are, I'm sure, lift and train. And hopefully soon we'll see a bit more. I'm hoping soon I can have like a friend over to train and stuff as well. That will be nice. Yeah.
I just think it's not going to be forever, right? There's light at the end of the tunnel now. When we had no indication of like exit plan, it was like, Jesus. And I actually felt like my equipment was a burden, because it was like, you need to train. But I wasn't feeling okay emotionally. So it was just like, I can't. The first thing that goes when I feel a bit down is exercise for me, because it's just, funny, I know it makes me feel better, but it is literally this obligation. And I just had to get sick of my own shit last week before, and actually my coach lit a rocket up my ass and just said to me, you look okay. And the okay was very telling. She was like, but if you want to be world champion, you need to start doing what you need to start doing. And I was just like, you're right, like I do. And sometimes I didn't want to
that talk though, don't we? Like, we don't like hearing, we don't necessarily like hearing it, but it's just
sometimes that's why you have your coach, isn't it? It's not necessarily for the training or the diet or anything. It is the moral support.
And it's the constructive. Like, there are days when I'll get feedback and it'll all be really positive, and there are days when it's like, okay, you know, read back what I said last week and let's on this. And but I appreciate that. Like, I don't pay my coach to tell me I'm doing a fucking good lift every day when I'm not. I pay him to be better, you know. So it's important.
For sure. So do you have like any kind of tips or words of wisdom for any of our bikini friends who might like to make the escape from
I did have a message actually from one bikini competitor, I won't name her, but saying that she wanted to try some on lifting, and she's gone and she's tried some CrossFit and she really enjoyed it. And she was going to look at, you know, potentially finding, like, dialing in on the ollie lifting more and stuff. So it's totally possible. I mean, my tips would be, don't be afraid to, like, if you were in like bikini for the wrong reasons, like me, like, don't be afraid just to shut the door on it. And like I said, do that, like, unfollow people that are not, you know, giving you
adding value.
It's just it's so important. I don't think people understand how consumed they get by like buy online stuff and social media and stuff. But specifically like embarking on like a new sport or anything, like I said a minute ago, I would invest in getting some guidance and getting a coach. Like, and I'm sure like in the London area there'll be loads. I know some really good coaches that way. So yeah, and I think as well, like the only thing I would say, again, last thing I would say about ollie lifting is you do need to be very patient. Like with anything, it's not like you won't pick a barbell up and do a snatch in like your first week. You won't probably do a very good snatch even in your first year. Like, it generally takes a really, really long time to get comfortable with the lifts and do the hard work to enable you. Like you were saying about mobility, like I didn't even do any mobility stuff when I was doing bikini. Generally had quite good mobility anyway, but like mobility and, you know, that side of things is massively important in ollie lifting. So yeah, I think your priorities will need to change a little bit if you want to get into it, and you might feel like you're going back to start again, but it is rewarding at the end if you stick with it, like anything.
I think that for me, when we were talking about like how it defines you being a bikini competitor, what I will just keep reminding myself, because I will probably move to powerlifting, to be honest, and because I can't do the snatch and the clean and jerk. Powerlifting is it's an easier transition from bodybuilding because we do those 3 movements anyway. But yeah, I think that it's not really like you're a bikini competitor. It's more about what it's taught me as a person, what my achievements come from my drive and my dedication, and as you said, like your resilience and stuff like that.
It has taught me a lot. Like I have taken a lot away from it, don't get me wrong, and I didn't want to come on here and feel like I was bashing it, because I'm not, but there is a certain element of me that just does want to leave that like where it was, because I don't have the best memories attached to it. Do you know what I mean?
I try and put anyone off that's never competed that says to me they want to, because they don't understand how awful it can be and how hard it is and what stress it can put on the rest of your life if you can't achieve that balance. And first timers never will be able to, you know, like it's easier for me now because I'm in my 4th year, but that first year, my God, like when we met, like the way we used to prep and the way we used to think we had to do things, it's not necessary actually, but it's important to have gone through that to value
to get where you are now,
and to value the rest of life as well, right? You wouldn't appreciate ollie lifting if you hadn't gone through bikini and then thought this is so much better.
No, totally. Well, like everything, it's like you look back and you learn, don't you? And then no, definitely. Yes, it's weird to even think I ever did get in a bikini.
Used to starve yourself. Especially because we love our food. So
I think like my favourite meal was possibly chicken with a bit of peanut butter on it. Like, couldn't think of anything worse right now. I'd rather eat freaking boot, literally. Christ. No.
Well, we've only got 1.5 minutes and it's going to cut us off. But thank you so much.
Been gassing for so long. My friend was like,
I know, it goes like that.
30 minutes.
We're like, I'm not going to be able to fill an hour. And you're like, anyway.
I can't fill it.
So only just started.
I'm bloody starving.
Yeah, no, it's been really good. Thank you. I think it's like
thank you so much
a lot of things that people do know, but they kind of need to hear from someone who's already done it.
It's so possible to get out.
There's life after bikini, guys.
Yeah, but like, don't stay there if you don't want to.
I think with anything, you need to evaluate your why. You know, anything you're involved in, and if it's for a toxic reason, you know, work on that and be happy. And full of food.
Ultimately, you do need to be happy. Whatever brings you happiness, do it safely. And who cares what anyone else thinks, right? True. Well, thank you so much, lovely, and thank you to everyone that's watching. It's going to be on my IGTV, and then I'll put it on my YouTube as well. Link in my bio. One day I'll get the swipe up, but until then, thank you so much, darling. Bye, lovey.
Lots of love.